Hi, this is Non-Monogamous Mark. I'm the co-founder and executive director of the nonprofit Non-Monogamous Lifestyles Association, and this is week 3 of my Habits of a Hero video series. And today I'm talking about and answering the question, what are hero habits? In our context, a hero habit is a set of routines you create that make you a hero, being your best authentic self while you're on a journey of living a liberated life of abundance and freedom. These routines help you to create a life that is financially more rewarding, healthier, increases your recreational opportunities, form better relationships, and have better sex. These routines help you to liberate your life from a life of dependence, obligation, restrictions, and limitations, and increase your abundance and your freedom. In short, hero habits make you a better person. As I said, this is week 3 in my series of hero habits. And every week in this video series, I give you a new habit to adopt. And this week's habit is create clear, objective standards and rate each one, putting a number on it. Without standards, how can you ever have the life that you want to have or become the person you want to be? You have nothing to measure or move forward to without standards. How can you measure anything that is never specific and always general? You know, it's kind of like saying to someone, how are you doing today? And you always get the answer, well, good or fine. And, you know, everybody keeps things superficial. Well, that's all nice and good in those kinds of social circumstances. But when you're talking about yourself, you want to get down in the dirt a little bit, get down in the mud and roll around and be really specific. And so you be specific in creating standards for yourself. When you create these standards, begin with the end result you want in mind and work backwards from there. You create the highest level of standards you can think to desire for yourself. So for instance, with myself, you know, I've got financial standards. In my financial standards, I know where I want to be. I created a standard for myself where I want to be at the end of the year. And I created a high level for myself. And so the same thing with my health. And my health is regarding to, for instance, I'm going to run a half marathon this year. And so that's going to be something I have to work up to. I haven't run, 5 miles for 30 years. And yet a half marathon is something like 13 miles. And so I'm going to have to step up my game there a little bit on my health and fitness. And so I'm creating standards for myself. Same thing with my weight. My relationships, I'm creating standards for myself and upping my game there as well. And creating standards, so having relationships with people who are on a path similar to myself of going somewhere in their life instead of going nowhere. And having a path of going somewhere in their non-monogamous life is even more important for me in my standards, to be around people who are creating new normals in their life and creating those normals so that they can become and live to be the best authentic themselves possible. But these standards, though, that they are fluid and they're not absolute. And so when you set the standards, understand that, they're not cast in concrete. That you can grow and change, and as you do grow and change, and as your mind expands from reading and associating with those who are on the path ahead of you, then when you associate with those kinds of people who are ahead of you on that same path that you're wanting to be on, then your standards will change, which is the reason to be regularly tuning up your trajectory. We talked about that in a video a number of weeks ago. And so when you go ahead and create standards for yourself, you don't want to just have that standard out there. You want to also rate yourself and with each one of the standards that you create. And you put a number on it, measuring it, allowing you to quantify where you're at against where you want to be. Not some subjective, meaningless number, but think about it enough so that you can come up with an objective rating scale. For instance, if maybe moving your relationships into a non-monogamous relationship is a standard, then how are you going to measure that? And set some steps along the way for you. For instance, a step might be that I can more openly, a standard might be I can more openly talk to my significant other about my true desires and my true wants for living a non-monogamous lifestyle. And yes, that can be risky. But with any standard, for instance, myself, with my financial goals, I risk the possibility of failure. But that's not going to keep me from going ahead and working towards and moving my life in the direction of those standards. With my weight, I have, last couple of years, I've failed at my standard. at meeting my standard. And yet, I did get a little closer. It's just that, and that's a whole lot better than gaining weight and getting farther from what my standard is. But I've not met my standard like I wanted to, so I've failed there. And so that meant that, okay, something's not working. I'm trying a lot of different things here, and that just means that I constantly am tuning up that trajectory and looking at what is working and what is not working so that I can sift and sort and adjust, and then I can move forward with my standard. I don't just forget about it and give it up, I keep that standard in mind. And I keep measuring myself with a number I give myself so that I rate myself so that I know about where I want to be and where I'm at and the work I need to do to get there. And same thing with the relationships that I want to have sexually in my life. I'm rating myself on that standard as well, and that the standard I have is much greater than where I'm at. And so it's also where I'm fine-tuning that all the time and then trying to think, okay, well, how can I be the kind of person that is going to attract those people to me that I want to enjoy a juicy sexual relationship with. So setting these standards and rating yourself, this is not about comparing yourself with anybody else. It's about comparing where you are with where you want to be in any given area. Put a number on it and ask yourself, what will it take to move up one notch? Rating these standards by putting a specific, objective, honest number on it doesn't allow you to fool yourself by being general and using subjective words and comments like, well, I'm doing good or I'm doing fine. And that just allows you to fake yourself out. And you don't want to fake yourself out keeping you stuck where you're at. If anything, you want to fake yourself out to move you forward in the direction of where you want to go. Now, I'm not a big proponent on the saying that used to be around when I was in my 20s. That was fake it until you make it. No, I don't think you have to fake it until you make it. I think you just simply move forward in your life believing of what you're about to have in your life. So for instance, when I'm going to the grocery store, I keep driving in the direction of the grocery store because I actually believe that I'm going to get there and buy some groceries. It's the same thing when I head from Seattle, where I'm at right now, to Ventura, or when I'm in Ventura, then head to Seattle. I know I'm going to go to Seattle, or I know I'm going to go to Ventura, and I've got to get on that airplane, and so I just have belief that I'm going to get where I'm going. And it's the very same thing with these standards. For my income, I just have a belief that if I do these things, I'm going to get where I'm going. With my weight, I have a belief that if I do these things, I'm going to get where I'm going. And yes, so what if I fail like I have the last couple of years with both my income and my financial goals and my goals of weight loss? However, I build my success on those failures. And then I keep fine-tuning things and I keep bettering my life instead of just giving up on myself. And so I hope that you don't give up on yourself either. That's the thing, that when you tell yourself that I'm doing good or I'm doing fine, well, you don't give yourself any motivation to move forward towards something better that you want in your life. And that's why it's so important to do this little assignment that I'm going to give you here in a moment. And that is where you're going to take and list some standards, and then you're going to rate yourself, because you want to be your own hero, and your heroes are constantly evaluating and rating themselves. And so here's the assignment that I'm going to give you. It's a little two-part assignment, and it'll help you help yourself to be your own hero. And I'm going to get you started in part one by giving you some standards for you to rate yourself on. And now down in the description of this video, you'll find a link. You'll find these standards all listed out there, so you can kind of do a copy and paste and print it out if you want. But I want you to put it on paper. And then with the description down there, I also included, with each standard, I included a link to a video. And those videos can help you to really kind of tune in on knowing how to set and accomplish that standard. And some videos I've made over the last several years, different links to different standards, so be sure to check those videos out as well. For each of these standards I'm going to talk about here in a moment, simply rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 5 on how close you are to where you want to be when you're at a place of being your best authentic self. Okay, let's get started now with this assignment. Ask yourself and rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 5. I do something every day to be my own hero, moving me closer to having the things in life I want. having the life I want, or being the person I want to be. Rate yourself a 0 to 5, and I've got a couple video links for you. How are you doing on the 30-day challenge to every day for 30 days challenge yourself to do something which takes a little courage for you to do in moving your life forward in the direction of your desires? This is something that you know you should do, but it's easy not to do. And often in the past that you really haven't done it. But in order to be your own hero, you've now begun doing these things. It doesn't have to be the same thing every day. And I talk about that in the linked video about the challenge, to challenge yourself to do something every day to be your own hero, something that takes a little courage. And these are things, like I said, that they're easy to do, but they're easy not to do as well. And but you start to do it because you know you need to do them if you're going to be your own hero. Now, reading on a daily basis for your personal education, development, improvement. Are you doing that? And how good? Are you spending 15, 20 minutes every day consistently? The other night, I went to bed and I got back up out of bed because I hadn't read for the day. And that's something that's really important for me. And so I got back up and came down here to my office and spent 20 minutes reading and then went back to bed. The standard of having a vision for your life and thinking about it daily. I talked about that in a video recently, and so I provide the link down below. It's a very important standard. Again, rate yourself 0 to 5. Do you have a vision for your life and think about it every single day? Rate yourself 0 to 5. Living your life every day by intention rather than on automatic or default, or living by the life that other people say you should live by. And rate yourself 0 to 5. Where do you want to be? Breaking out of your mold of how you are supposed to live your life and become true to yourself, being your best authentic self. That gives you a life where you can thrive at. Rate yourself 0 to 5. Having your words, your thoughts, and your feelings be intentional rather than be by reaction, default, or on autopilot. Rate yourself 0 to 5. Living your life every day, creating sexually liberated, non-monogamous norms that help you to live the sexually liberated, non-monogamous life of your dreams where you thrive and are passionate about living. Rate yourself 0 to 5. I meditate every day. Rate yourself 0 to 5. My energy begins my day by having a high vibration and remains there throughout the day. Rate yourself 0 to 5. Openly talk about your non-monogamous life or desires rather than perpetuate the false norm of monogamy in our society by living your life in a manner that looks like you're monogamous. Talk to strangers, talk to your coworkers, talk to friends, talk to relatives, talk to your brothers and sisters, and your aunts and uncles, and your moms and dads, and your sons and daughters, so that you're not putting out this false message and perpetuating the false norm in our society of being monogamous. Well, rate yourself 0 to 5 on that. And then part 2 of the assignment is for you to make up your own items that you'll set your own standards that you can rate yourself on as well. Do this assignment by writing it all out, or like I said, you can do a copy and a paste of the items that are in the description and then put it into a document and then rate yourself. And then once you've rated yourself, doing part 1 and part 2 of the assignment, then look at that assignment that you just did and find the 2 or 3 things where you rated yourself the lowest on. For myself, the 2 or 3 things are that my weight is where I rate myself very low on, because I just keep, not making that goal. And I have such a strong desire to really look good with the weight and get the belly off of myself. And so that's where I rate myself the lowest, and that's where often then I'm doing the most work in my life at. And then the other area that personally for me is financially. And so I know that I need to really work on that area, and so that's where I have the lowest rating on that area of hitting my financial goals. And so that's something that is requiring my focus and attention as well. And so take these standards yourself, these ratings, and find out the ones that are the 2 or 3 of them that are the lowest that you need then to focus on the most. And these are the ones then for the next several months that you can focus on. Well, now, non-monogamous lifestyles helps you to stay on the path so that you don't keep falling off the path, or if you need to find a new path to get on, it helps you to do that as well. And we provide tools and opportunities, and we provide ways for you to connect with other people that are on a similar path that you are at. And if you want to get connected with us and know more about Non-Monogamous Lifestyles Association, click on that link that's right there at the top of the description, and that'll take you over where you can get on our email list, and that way you'll keep up with things that we have going on with Non-Monogamous Lifestyles Association. So thanks a lot. I appreciate your time to watch this video, and I hope it was helpful for you. Have a great day.